Hey, Coach Tenisha here. And I know you're like, hey, you're talking about marriage all the time. What about us singles? I got you. I got you. So, single ladies, let me talk to you for a moment. You know what? You are very special. And God says that you are to be found. So, where can you be found? You have to be somewhere to be found, right? Where should you be? Okay, yes, we know that a good woman can be found at church. Where else can you be found, ladies? What about volunteering? How about you go volunteer at a soup kitchen? How about you go volunteer to help at a shelter? But men should know, good Christian men, men that are worthy to become your husband, should know that they could find you, wonderful woman of God, volunteering for the Lord. What about on a blind date? You have a good Christian sister who's married, who knows how to identify someone who is capable of providing a healthy relationship. Go on a date with someone that a good trusted friend has set you up with. Go ahead and try that. You never know. You have to be found somewhere, right? What about a singles conference? I know back in the day, the church had the singles ministry, and that's the area that you could go to. And today it's not, like that, but it's coming back. And even if it doesn't, you can get together at your church and inspire your pastor to bring back that singles ministry. But find now, we were just talking about the singles conference in that video clip, but let me tell you where you also can be found at the 2025 Strong Marriage Virtual Mini Conference. Yes, it's for singles, for those who are dating, for those who are engaged, and for the married couples. So, singles, you can be found at this virtual marriage conference right from the comfort of your own home. And as we go into the show, I'll tell you more about that. But let's get excited today for today's episode of the Strong Marriage Live podcast. You don't want to miss this. Hey, welcome back to the Strong Marriage Live podcast, where we dive deep into the tools and truths that help you build a healthy, thriving, God honoring relationship. I'm your host, your favorite certified relationship coach, Coach Tenisha Collins. And I'm so excited that you're here today. Today, of course, this whole month, we're going to be talking about effective communication. It's one of my hallmark things that I like to teach about because it is vital. Besides Jesus, if you have effective communication, honey, you can weather any storm. So today's episode is going to be another morsel or appetizer to wet your whistle for the 2025 Strong Marriage Virtual Mini Conference this year. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about active listening. Yes, active listening. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, oh, I heard that before, Tenisha, or I'm in your strong marriage group and I read about what you said about it, whatever. Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you. Most people think they're good listeners. But in reality, they're just waiting for their turn to talk. They're building up their responses. Oh, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that. Got the little inside your head and everything. But this is the reason why marriages drift, why conflict lingers, and why partners often feel unseen and unheard. So if you're ready to strengthen intimacy, reduce your conflict, and build the negative conflict, because we've talked about before that all conflict is not bad. Okay. If you're ready to build trust in your relationship, then stay with me. All right, let's go. Let's talk about why active listening matters. And if you've been with me for any length of time, or even if you are a member of the free Facebook support group called Strong Marriage, you will know that I have a different definition of effective communication. Okay, so I always talk about defining words so that we are both on the same page when we're talking and listening, right? So effective communication, I have a whole definition for that, but one piece of it is called active listening, and this is why it matters. Listening is not the same as hearing. We hear all kinds of stuff all day long, all night long, even when we're sleeping. But hearing is passive. The words go into your ears, but they don't always make it to your heart. You know what I'm saying? Listening, active listening in particular, is very intentional. It's a choice to tune in, not just to the words, but to what? What did we talk about last week? The nonverbal communication, the meaning, the emotion, and the need that the speaker has behind those words. Okay. So here's the truth: every spouse, every partner, every person on this earth has a deep need to be understood and loved. When you feel understood, you feel valued. And when you don't, you feel dismissed, rejected, and unloved, right? So I want you to think about that. Okay. Just let it sink in for a little bit. Have you ever shared something that mattered to you, maybe about work or your feelings, or even something small like a TV show you were really into? Like, this is your favorite series and it is just like changed you in a way, a good way. And you're trying to share it, and the person just nodded without even looking up from their phone. They did you like this. That was good. Oh, you like that, huh? Okay, what did my body language say? I was not interested. Did you feel invisible? Were you hurt a tad bit? You low key angry? Now flip that. Imagine someone leaning in. What did you say? Oh, wow. Oh, wait. And then they're asking questions. They're making eye contact. They're nodding. They're reflecting back what you said. I mean, you feel like they're in it with you. They are feeling what you're feeling. Wow, they get me. Oh, I matter to them, or this is important to them like it's important to me. That is the power of active listening. When you feel that way after a conversation, you two are closer. There are actual chemicals that your body releases that I call the bonding hormone. And that's where intimacy is formed. So active listening is very, very important. What does the word say about it? Okay. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 13. Write that down. I know you got your journal, you're writing stuff down, or you're in your iPhone apps, your notes app, and you're writing this stuff down, right? Because active listening is very important. Proverbs 18:13 says, to answer before listening, that is folly and shame. Ooh, okay. Somebody put in the chat what version that is. It's not New King James. It's not King James. Is it NLT? Is it NIV? Let the scholars speak. What version is that? Proverbs 18:13. To answer before listening, that is folly and shame. So God's word is clear, of course. If you jump in with your own answer before truly listening, you're not only being foolish, you're bringing shame into your relationship. And as believers in Jesus Christ, we don't want to do that. We don't want shame in any area of our lives, especially not in the most intimate and most rewarding relationship that God has provided for us outside of Him. So now that you got that down, let's focus on what active listening really is when we come back from this little short break. Hey, are you still shacking up with me? I'm just kidding. I'm not really more. But hey, I just want to take a moment to make sure your life is not wobbling and topsy-turvy just because you haven't subscribed.
just stop what you're doing right now while you're looking and just hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And I hope you're here to get all the notes you can take so that you can have a healthy relationship. All right, go ahead and hit that button. Now back to the show.
Now, active listening isn't complicated, but it is very intentional. So let me break it down for you. Okay. There are going to be 4 key components. Say that with me. 4 key components. The first component of active listening is paying attention. Okay. That's obvious, but come on. That means putting away distractions, no phone scrolling, no half watching the TV, full focus on the person who is speaking. Now, although I am talking about specifically romantic relationships, this is going to work and should be utilized in every relationship that you have with your employer, with your employees, with your children, with your friends. This is just what I call basic respect. It's showing people that they care, because remember, as believers in Jesus Christ, we are to love people the way God loves us. That is the commandment. We don't live by the 10 commandments or the law of Moses as New Testament Christians. We understand the whole theme of the Bible, but understand also that as followers of Christ, he gave a command that we are to follow in this dispensation of grace and love. And that is to love God and love other people as we love ourselves. That is the greatest commandment, he said. That's what we do. So you're going to pay attention when people talk to you. You are going to actually be interested. You are going to put away distractions. And this, let me tell you how this works in marriage. This is how I knew that my husband really loved me. And even to this day, when I come in a room and I'm just like, bless his heart that he has dealt with me for 31 years. Because I'm just like, la, 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 la. Oh, squirrel. Guess what, honey? Blah, 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 blah. This man is watching football. He is, writing a paper because he is a scholar for life. And once again, he is back in grad school. So he could be writing a paper. He could be getting ready for work. Maybe he's been called into the hospital and, he's getting ready for work. And I might be helping him, but then like, squirrel, guess what, honey? Blah, 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 blah. And he understands that the way my brain functions, if I don't tell you right then, I'm going to forget. And this was something that's important to me that I want to share with him. So bless his heart. He stops whatever he's doing. If he's watching TV, he will pause it. He will just stop everything and he looks at me with intent like, what do you need to say, babe? And then I tell him, I get all my words out, and then he gives me some feedback or congratulations or whatever. But I know that he's there and I know that he's listening because he's stopped everything, okay? He hasn't been like me and gotten upset about, oh my gosh, I can't hear my show. But that's how I know that I'm important to him. And that connection, that fire keeps burning. I'm thinking of Keep the Fire Burning because I'm currently uploading my course, Keep the Fire Burning, into my new community. Yes, we'll talk about that later too. But the first step or first component in active listening is paying attention. The second component, showing that you're listening. How did my husband do that? He did eye contact. He's nodding. He's leaning in. He is doing all kinds of nonverbal communication things with his body that lets me know he's really listening to me. He's not thinking about, dang, I had to pause my show, or where did I stop in my paper, or, what's going on. He's thinking about me, and he's focusing on what I'm saying. Component number 3, reflecting back. This is like proof that you really were paying attention. It's repeating or rephrasing or even regurgitating what you just heard that person say. For example, So what you're saying is you felt left out when I made that decision without you, or blah, 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 whatever the situation may be. Say I'm excited about this movie I just watched. I remember sometime last month, I watched this Tubi movie. Don't judge me, but it was really, really good. You know, it was a really good movie with a brand new like actor. I guess it's like his aspiring role, but he also directed it, and it was a romance, and the black love was just, oh, it was good. It was a really, really good movie. I was so excited about it after watching it. I mean, I think I had like cried at the end too when the two got together. It was like a lovely love story, and I love stories, right? So I was so excited. Hubby was at work. So when my daughter Joy walked into the room, I mean, I was like, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I like projectile vomited my excitement about this movie to her. And she made eye contact, and she was nodding and asking, questions, reflecting back, and let me know she's there with me. We are on the same page. She's going to watch a movie too. And when she watches, she's going to be like, Mommy was right. It's such a good feeling. And I was able to share that with her. And I feel like it made us a little closer. So that's what reflecting back can do for you. It shows that you're not just hearing the words, but you're grasping the heart. You're basically being there in that moment with them. Component number 4, responding appropriately. So you're asking clarifying questions. And my daughter did. She was like, wait, did you mean the main character did this? And you mean they did that? And why was it called that? And the movie showed out, she was asking those questions, and I was able to give, more input and elaborate more. And I felt like free to dump more information on her because she was asking those clarifying questions. She validated my feelings and responded with empathy. She was like right there. Yes. So when you're talking to your partner, maybe you don't want to hear solutions at that time unless you say, what do you think? How would you have solved that? But most of the time, we just want to get the stuff out and share what we were feeling. And I want you to be there, not being defensive or saying, but you did this and it was your, I don't want to hear that first. I want you to be with me in that situation and understand what I was feeling and empathize with me. So those are your 4 components of active listening. Let me make sure you got that written down. Component number 1, I want to say step. My husband's the step master. He loves him some actionable steps. So I'm used to saying steps. But component, pay attention. Put away your distractions. Focus on the person talking. Show that you're listening. Your body language, your nonverbal cues, your eye contact, nodding. Number 3, reflecting back. It's your proof that you really were paying attention. You're repeating, you're regurgitating what you just heard. What did you understand that person to say to make sure you're on the same page and that you get the heart of the issue? And then number 4, you're going to respond appropriately. You're not going to give solutions. You're not going to be defensive. You're not going to take sides. You're going to respond with empathy. Okay. I love James chapter 1, verse 19, where it says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, right? Ooh, can we all use that? But that is not a suggestion. That's a blueprint. It's a command, but look at it as a blueprint for a strong marriage. If you are quick to listen, slow to speak, Lord help me, and slow to become angry, then you're on the way to becoming an awesome, awesome spouse, right? And speaking of awesome spouses, did I mention the 2025 Strong Marriage virtual mini conference this year?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is the mini conference of the year, and I'm excited to bring back wonderful teachers that are pastors that have great, strong, godly marriages who will be speaking into your life. It's a mini conference because I received feedback from last year that maybe 4 hours was too long. So it's not going to be that long this time. It's a mini conference, but you're going to get some power packed information that's going to really expound on what I'm talking about today. So make sure you click the link in the description box to get your tickets. This is the last episode of Strong Marriage Live that the early bird pricing will be available. Yes, starting September 1st. The prices are going to increase, so you want to get your tickets today. All right. We talked about James 1:19, and now we're going to talk about common barriers to active listening. Now, let's take 5 minutes to talk about why, because sometimes you can really understand what something is by knowing what it's not. And the same goes to you can understand how to do something by knowing what the barriers are. Okay, I hope you got that. For me, my brain is a little different because we're all unique, right? And if I know what a barrier is to something, then I'm going to know how to, if I know what the barrier is, then by avoiding those barriers, I'm doing what needs to be done in order to obtain whatever I'm trying to obtain. So I wanted to take 5 minutes to talk to you about that in case you are like me. Okay, somebody out there is. So if active listening is so powerful, and it is, why don't more of us do it? Because there are barriers, right? Here's some of the biggest ones. Distractions. You might think, duh, okay, I knew that. But saying we know something and actually knowing something are two different things. And let me tell you how I can say that. Because for you really to know something, it means you're doing it. Okay? So distractions. We have so many distractions in 2025. I grew up in an era where there were no cell phones and no computers. So I didn't have all that. I grew up in an era where if you miss the show at 5 p.m., honey, you missed it. Okay. You were not seeing that show. It's not like streaming services today or live cable today where you're watching something and you can pause it to go do something else and then come back and pick up where you left off, or on demand. I'm just going to watch it when I feel like watching it. Oh, I so love that. But back in the day, it wasn't that. So I didn't have as many distractions as a lot of young adults today do. And the children, oh my gosh, the poor children. My grandchildren have iPads and gaming devices at 4 and 6. So, it's a total different world, but there's lots of distractions. TV. Maybe you are a young married couple and you got kids. Your kids are still young. You need to put eyes on them. Okay. Put eyes on the children. Life is noisy. There are things to do. Like I said, my husband is on call at the hospital. He's also in graduate school. He has me. He also has his children and his grandkids. He also has his business. So he is busy, right?
But distraction communicates something else matters more than you. That's sad, right? What's another barrier? Defensiveness. When you mess up and you get defensive about it, oh, that's like the worst. Instead of listening, you're already building up your rebuttal in your mind. I'll prove them right. Oh, I'm going to say this. I'm going to do that. You are having a whole conversation in your mind while this person is talking. You're not focusing. That's not listening. That's courtroom cross-examination, and that's not going to be good for your relationship. Another one. Ooh, this one was so bad for me. This is what got me in the early years of marriage. Assumptions. Mm-hmm. When I was in 10th grade, I had a social studies teacher that told us a funny way of how to spell assassination. 2 ASS's in a nation. We were like, oh, but you know what? We all knew how to spell that word. Okay. Same thing with assumptions. Assumptions, when you assume, you make a ASS out of you and me. Yeah. Assumptions are bad, bad, bad. You need to ask some clarifying questions. You need to give some details so that you are not assuming some things. Okay. You think you already know what your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend is going to say. So you tune out. You just totally like, they always say that. That's wrong, because no one always or never anything besides God, because you're not perfect. Assumptions kill curiosity, and curiosity is a key to intimacy. Assumptions kill clarification, and that clarification, without it, you have no clue, you have no information, you have no understanding, and misunderstandings can wreak havoc in your relationship. Those things can build up and cause bitterness and resentment, and your intimacy is absolutely dead. You don't want that. Another one is the fix it mode, especially for men, but not only for men. You hear your partner's problem and immediately jump into solution mode. I think I've done this for my children. Why don't you do this? You should have done this. Girl, listen. Be with them in that moment. Feel what they felt. Empathize. Most of the time, your partner isn't looking for a fix. They want connection. This is what relationships are for. God is a relationship God. He made everything. He made man. He said it's not good for Adam to be alone. He made a woman for Adam. They were husband and wife. They wanted connection. Adam said, after he named all the things, creatures, animals that God made, he was like, what is there for me? He wanted connection. God wants connection for us with him and here on earth. Everybody wants connection. Nobody wants to be alone, isolated, lonely. No, we don't want that. We want connection. So don't go into fix it mode. I had to learn it the hard way, mostly with my children, because I couldn't fix anything my husband was doing. Sometimes I went into fix it mode with him. Yeah, sometimes, but especially with my children. But you don't want to go into fix it mode. You want to be intentional about listening to what they're saying and feeling what they feel. You want to go into that memory, that experience with them. Okay. So in the chat, tell me, which one of these do you struggle with most? Are you fix it mode mom like me? Or sit in your mind and you just, have your own conversations and play out a whole thing and it's not even true? Do you assuming stuff instead of asking those clarifying questions? Tell me in the chat what you struggle with most, and then we'll talk about that more. Okay. For the last part of this episode, I want to give you some practical tools. I've been married to my husband for a while. We need to get some actionable steps. Yes, some practical tools to practice active listening. And let me get a plug in for my new community called Sacred Spaces School. Yes, it's powered by the school platform. And inside of it is basically an upgrade from Strong Marriage Support Group on Facebook. It's teaching, it's tools to help you put these tools into practice. You have to have a strategy for a successful marriage. It doesn't just happen. You strategize, right? You get the tools you need to build the life that you want. And that's what I'm doing inside Sacred Spaces School. I'm giving you tools to build the marriage of your dreams. Okay? So let's get practical. Here are some tools that you can use today. Tool number one, the mirror technique. Okay. When your spouse shares something, reflect it back. Say, what I hear you saying is, and my husband does this all the time, and I love it. When you do the mirror techniques, you're going to say, so what I hear you saying is, and then you're going to regurgitate or share what you understood. What did you hear? Because, we say words, but we hear different things. And then you're going to check, did I get it right? This simple step alone can transform your conversations. In the beginning, it may seem like, okay, this conversation could have been 5 minutes. It was really long. But once you get the hang of it, it'll come naturally. Like I said, my husband does this all the time. So what I hear you saying is, he does it with me, he does it at work, but he makes sure that he understood exactly what you said. Because like I said, we say words all the time, but words have different meanings for each of us. For example, I am on a weight loss journey. The last 5 pounds is always the hardest for me. And I'm down to the last 5. I've been on these last 5 pounds for months. So when my husband said, I don't like that outfit on you, I was like, I jumped back like, what? Defensiveness came in because it's an internal struggle. What did I hear him say? You looking fat in that. You look like you ain't lost them 5 pounds. My husband would never say that to me. He's very intentional about his words. He knows what's going to hurt me. And although he can speak a word like that, he's very quick to the point, blah, blah, blah. He knows he has to sweeten it up for me. So although he said, I don't like that outfit on you, it doesn't flatter you. I heard, I can tell you ain't lost those 5 pounds. He didn't say that, right? What I needed to do was say, so what I hear you saying is, you could tell I haven't lost those 5 pounds. Did I get that right? And then he would have said, no, ma'am, you did not get that right. I'm saying that your little shape is cuter than what the outfit is saying. It doesn't flatter your shape. If you put on this, you'll see what I mean. You look much better in it and you'll be more comfortable. And then I'm like, oh, see how we avoided that unnecessary conflict, the conflict that wouldn't help our relationship grow. But by him using the mirror technique, or by me using the mirror technique in this instance, I wouldn't have been defensive. I wouldn't have allowed myself to make the assumption that he's saying, I can see that you haven't lost those 5 pounds. Tool number 2, the pause. Ooh, y'all, this is good. Before you respond, take a moment. Pause, take a breath. Deep. And then ask yourself, am I responding to what they said or to what I assumed they meant? And this is for you if you struggle with assumptions. That pause can give you the time to save yourself from the unnecessary conflict, that conflict that is not going to be healthy for your relationship. Tool number 3, empathy first, solutions later. Oh man, I need this with my kids when they were younger. When your spouse or your partner is upset, start with empathy. Start with empathy. As believers in Christ, we need to do this. Start with empathy. Say, I can see why you're hurt. Or that sounds frustrating. Man, I'm feeling what you was feeling. Once your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend feels heard, then and only then ask if they would like advice or solutions. We need to ask that. We don't just projectile vomit advice and solutions onto people because it doesn't feel good in the moment. Now, should we give our advice and solutions? Of course, because we love each other. But there's a time and a place. Someone put in the chat, where in Ecclesiastes does it say is a time and a place for everything? Put that in the chat for me. Here's your fourth tool while you're typing that in the chat, because I know you are. The 10-minute daily check-in. Okay. It doesn't have to be daily. It could be weekly. It could be bi-weekly. It could be monthly. What's the check-in? Set aside 10 minutes. No phones, no TV, no distractions. Turn your ringer off. Turn the TV off. Turn the laptop off. Just check in with each other. Ask, how are you feeling today? And like, I know for us, that might be a little bit difficult. My husband's we're going to talk about feelings. That's why I said that you can turn this daily check-in to maybe a monthly or whatever. According to personalities, maybe I'll talk about that in an episode. My daughters, I'm talking my mouth off, I was supposed to be done. My daughters were saying, it doesn't bother you that daddy doesn't share his feelings with you? And I'm like, no, because I understand after 31 years, that's just his personality. If something's really digging into him, the Holy Spirit would prompt me. I'm praying for him often anyway. But I did say to him last night, babe, you can share more with me. You can trust me with, what you want to share. But he's like, what? His personality is just like, I'm not talking about my feelings, okay? But for those, like my daughters, have men that talk about their feelings and they love it. And so they're talking all the time. So they would do a 10-minute daily check-in. My husband and I, we're going to do a sometime check-in, once a month, something like that, where we will actually say, okay, for this 10 minutes, we're going to talk about our feelings. What are you feeling? And then the other person is going to actively listen. This practice builds trust and keeps small issues from becoming blow-ups. And don't forget prayer. I mentioned that I pray for my husband often. And I say often because I can't say every day because sometimes I forget. I know that's horrible, but we're human. So that's why it's important. You better be praying for yourself, okay? Because your partner may forget. You have your own relationship with God, and then your spouse just, it's an extra push for you. Sometimes the best way to listen to your spouse is to listen together to God. Maybe you go into prayer together, and it doesn't have to be long or whatever. It could be a quick prayer before you go to bed or in the morning, whatever's good for you. But when you do pray, you're training your heart to be still, to hear, and to respond with love. All right. 3 minutes. A story to bring it home. So early in my marriage, I thought I was a great listener. I thought I was great at everything. I thought I was great. But the truth, I was hearing words and preparing my defense at the same time. My husband would say something, and instead of sitting with his feelings, I would respond, or he would respond with logic, or worse, I would, turn it back on him. I'd be, defensive or whatever. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I often say that first year was hell, and he agrees, but he also says the next 6 years were like, so we had a lot of that. Like I said, I struggled with assumptions And I had that voice in my head because I didn't have this teaching that I'm giving you. And it's one of the reasons why I do it, because I'm hoping that you learn it now and that you can take it into your relationship now. So one day my husband said to me, "It feels like you never really hear me." Okay, that hurt. I realized my listening wasn't about him, it was about me because I'm selfish. Oh my gosh. Um, and I thought I had to defend myself. I thought I had to, stand my ground and prove that I was right because I did not understand that we both need to be right because we're on the same team. I really didn't understand football dynamics in the early years because I didn't like football before I met my husband and had my sons, and they were football players as well. So it was rocky. So when he says that it was 6 more years of, I believe him. When I started practicing active listening, actually paying attention to him, looking him in the eye, being brave and courageous, like the word tells me to, and trying to listen. I still didn't have the tools to learn, to know, hey, repeat back what he said, say, say what you think you heard him say. We still didn't know that. We didn't learn that until, oh my gosh, I forgot what year, but it was later into the marriage. So something shifted once we did that. He opened up more. Our conflicts de-escalated faster. And most of the time we don't have conflict. We kind of like bump heads a little bit and then realize we're on the same team. That's silly. Get with it. And most importantly, we feel safe with each other. And that is what I want for you too. So because I am over the time that I've set for myself, I am going to close it up. I'm going to stop talking. I had a whole call to action and all that stuff. I'm not going to do it. You've heard everything I had to say. Here's your challenge for the week. Practice that 10-minute daily check-in. Okay. And of course, if you do not know Jesus Christ, all you have to do is the Romans Road. Get a Bible. Ask Google. They'll give you Romans chapter 8, verses 8, 9, and 10. Pray that, and you will be saved. And you can join me. If you have done that, email me and let me know that you're now in the body of Christ. I want to welcome you and help disciple you. So I just want you to remember that you really can have the marriage of your dreams. You just need the tools to build it. And I just gave you lots of tools today to build it. So I'll see you next week for the Strong Marriage Live podcast. Bye.